Last time we saw you, you were picking up a pretty impressive win over Gilbert Melendez. Got to ask you, just kind of how satisfying that result was, because it seemed like one of the best fights of your career.
Yeah, constantly evolving, making them changes, growing with the sport. It's going in there handling business. I had a lot on my shoulders. I was getting married 2 weeks later, fighting a great opponent, a former champion, and Gilbert Melendez. He's a very tough dude. He's a savage, so had to go in there and execute.
You talk about, kind of evolving. What do you think the key was? What clicked? Because you had some setbacks, and then you come in and just look phenomenal. What clicked? What was the difference?
I think just being back with Eric Del Fiero, the Team Alliance, getting back to my gym, hashing out all the issues that I had, and really sitting down talking to him and man to man, and really just getting back to work, just putting in that hard work. When I'm at Alliance, I feel like I'm the best. I feel like if anybody who travels, does their camps, like foreign camps, always notice the difference when they do overseas camp or when they're at Alliance. And when you're at Alliance, you don't have a choice but to be in shape and in the best shape of your life. So I feel like working things out with Eric and getting down, biting down on the mouthpiece, getting to work, and just my mindset. Always evolving with the sport, always growing, and going in there and handling business.
As long as you've been in the UFC, competing at the highest level, is it hard to keep that mindset of growth? Because I would think it would be real easy to just say, man, I know this, I got this, I've been doing this forever, and just kind of fall into a routine.
No, not really, man. I was broke. We had a lot of the UFC fights in the earlier days. Pay's going up a bit, and what, I love this sport. I love doing what I love to do. I'm 16. Since I was 16, I've been able to fight, and now I'm providing for my family. This is real life to me. This isn't fun and games. I do have fun, believe me, but this isn't fun and games to me. This is a real fist fight. This is you taking food off my family's plate, and I'm not going to allow that to happen by any cost. And at this point in my career, I feel like I'm the best, and I feel like I have a great opponent come Sunday night, January 14th, here in St. Louis, and that's going to bring out the best of me. And I'm excited to go out there and perform at my best. I basically black out, listen to my coaches, and just let my instincts take over. And when it's all said and done, my reaction is just how I'm feeling right there in that exact moment.
You mentioned being married. Maybe almost cliche, but has that changed your perspective, your focus a little bit? What you're fighting for, that sort of thing?
No. I've been married. We've been together for 10 years, so nothing has changed. It's just a little bit more hunger and a lot more focus and doubt in. That I have, during this process. It's been amazing. I have an amazing woman who believes in my dreams, believes what I'm doing. We don't butt heads. We've been on the same page since the beginning, and she lets me just rock and roll.
That's awesome. It sounds like you have some respect for Dooho Choi. I wanted to ask you what you thought about him. Here's a kid that obviously had an amazing fight last time out, but certainly hasn't accomplished what you have, hasn't been around. So when they come to you with that name, were you immediately like, yes, or did you have to think about it? What was it like when the matchup was presented to you?
I come from an era where, if you get offered a fight, you don't turn it down. Today's day and age, there's a lot of pussies out there, picking and choosing fights. I was actually offered 2 fights. I was offered Ricardo Lamas, and, they offered December 16th. I was a little bit heavy. I said, hey, there's some fights pushing back off the 30th card on December, which recently just passed 2 weeks ago. I said I can do it then. I didn't hear back, and as I was actually there, they offered the Choi fight. I said, why not just the Choi fight? I was like, that's an exciting fight on paper. Everybody would love to see that fight. He's coming off an exciting win. He's coming off an exciting fight. Excuse me. I'm coming off an exciting win. That stylistically, I don't care where he's at in the rankings. That's an exciting fight. People want to see them type of fights. And look, I figured, hey, there's no main event for that. We were going to be the main event. We've been training. We were already ready to rock and roll. So when they said main event, I already knew what it was. So, the UFC puts me in these mainstream pay-per-view cards. They let me kick off things. They know what they're getting with me. They're getting action-packed, people going to sleep. It's too hot for TV type shit. So that's what we're bringing.
Yeah, it's a great way to kick off the new year for sure. So it's interesting. So do you keep an eye on kind of everybody in the division? Are you one of those guys that knows? Because I hear some people, they might not know who somebody is and have to study, but it sounds like right away you knew about that great fight. You knew about him?
Yeah, actually seen him fight live. I can't remember. I think he knocked out Tavares. I don't even remember where I was. I seen him fight live, and I remember being like, oh, the kid's 145 pounds. I was like, sweet, But he's knocking out a guy that I don't really feel has much of a chin, but. With that said, I don't take people lightly in this division or in this sport. I've seen the craziest things have happened. I've seen turds come up off the couch and knock a top 10 guy out. You know, that just happens in the sport. I respect my martial arts background. I respect anybody who gets in there. This is why I'm well prepared. With that being said, I'm going to go in there and beat that ass, though. You know, that it's me or him. It's kill or be killed. And like I said, man, I've been doing this since I was 16 years old. This isn't a fucking game. You know, I'm for real.
I was going to say, you know, I was going to ask if maybe you were a little disrespected or maybe going with a chip on your shoulder. You know, this is the young kid, this is the up-and-coming, you're the veteran. But it sounds like you just respect anybody that's in there.
Not at all, man. I mean, you look at me. I went and fought Den Thomas. No one who knew who I was. And then, you know, I went in there and put on a performance, and people were talking about me. I literally became an overnight celebrity that night. You know, I was 21 years old that exact day. When I came back to my hometown, people were like, man, you did really good. Like, even though it was a loss, I didn't tap. And I still, you know, there's for sure I didn't tap. And, you know, to me, they could have ripped my arm off that night. I mean, you guys see me get out of crazy submissions. You know, Big John made a mistake there. I love Big John, but he made a mistake. And I would have broke my arm that night and kept fighting because, you know, like I said, dude, I've been doing this since I was 16. This is my life. And, you know, I went out there and I made a name for myself. This kid he basically has nothing to lose. You know, he goes in there, he can have a performance. He's he's in the situation that I was, and I'll never forget that. I still enjoy this process. Every time I come to the UFC, this is still like my first time. These first time vibes that I'm getting. You know, I trust the process now. I'm a lot more experienced. I have a great fight IQ, but all that can go out the window when you're getting punched in the face. But, you know, I use that experience. I train very hard, and I'm for real.
I was going to say, so if you knew the best way to win a fight was to just go in there and take the guy down and lay on him for 25 minutes, could you do that? I mean,
have you ever seen me lay on a motherfucker? Hell no.
That's what I wonder.
If I'm laying on you, I'm ground and pound the shit out of you. I've been in one of the most bloodiest fights ever inside the octagon. That was my first fight at 145 pounds, and that was the first fight on the card. If that goes to tell you something, you know. So I don't lay on people. I don't even think I have maybe like 2, maybe 3 submissions on some amateur or lower level. You know, I want to beat your ass. I want to bust your head open. I want to brutally knock you out. I want to hit you again when you're down. Why? Because I know what you signed up for. Since I was 16, I knew when I signed that dotted line, yeah, you can get knocked out. Yeah, you can break your arm. And I live for that shit. That shit scares the fuck out of me. But that makes me go out there and perform like a scared tiger. I'm a very ferocious tiger, and you back me into a corner. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna strike. I'm gonna launch out at you. I'm gonna try to take you the fuck out. You know what you're getting with me. You can look at all the tapes, but the one thing that you don't see is my mindset. You don't see my mind. You can see the knees, you can see the kicks, the punches, the knockouts, but you don't see my mind. You don't see my evolution inside the training room, the constant involvement that I'm doing. You don't see who I'm working with, how hard I'm working. You know, you put me up against these young guys, I'll outrun them all day. I'll outstrike them all day. I'll do more rounds. I will get on the treadmill. You will get off first. You're not going to outwork me.
What are your career goals right now? I mean, you've done so much in the UFC. You've had so many great fights. Obviously, you come to bang every single time you come out there. But are there career things that you need to check off, goals that you need to accomplish?
Yeah, for sure. I want to make a ton of money and invest in houses and get that cash flow and all that money working for me. And you know, later on, be a commentator. But all that goes out the window. You know, I definitely want to be world champion. Those are all the main goals. But right now, you know, my only focus is it's very small right now, and that's on Choi. That's the only thing that I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about an after party. I don't even have an after party because I'm focused on just one thing to do here in St. Louis, and that's beat somebody's fucking ass.
That's awesome. I think, you know, on paper it looks like we might have a Fight of the Year contender 2 weeks into the new year. I mean, is that what you're expecting? How do you see this thing play out in your head?
You know what? I don't really put any predictions on it. Anything can happen. I'm planning on going in there and beating him down. You know, doing my thing. You know, we're prepared to go all 5 rounds, and I feel like it's going to be a one-sided 5 rounds. I feel like I'm going to beat his ass and go in there and take what's mine. I got to go in there. I got to earn it. I still got to perform, and that's the only thing that I'm focused on. If I knock him out, fine. If I make him quit on the stool within the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, fine. You know, if it goes to decision, fine. The only thing that I know is that I'm the winner. My hand's getting raised that night.